What's up, everybody? I wanted to make another little short video about another little funny thing that happened in my congregation growing up. This one has to do with my very first official responsibility in the congregation. So my first official responsibility was becoming the reader at the book study. So it was a little different from when I was a little kid growing up. I remember them kind of rotating it around, and at each book study, a different brother would read, the paragraphs in the book and the Bible scriptures and things like that, while the conductor conducted. But when I left for a while and came back, my book study just had one person every week as the official reader in the book study. So the problem was the brother that was reading at my book study couldn't read. So every time there was like a big word, he would have a problem. He would, like, let's say it was King Nebuchadnezzar. He would just get stuck like a kid in elementary school. He wouldn't try to move past the word or sound it out or nothing. He would just be like King Nebuchadnezzar, and then waiting for the conductor to bail him out. You know what I mean? So the conductor every time would have to just whisper Nebuchadnezzar, and then he would say, "Oh, Nebuchadnezzar," and he would just move on to the next word. So each time, the conductor is constantly, bailing him out every single book study. Anytime there was a difficult word, sometimes it wasn't even words that was real complex. It was just he would get the pronunciation wrong. So he would be like Maliki, and then the conductor would be like Malachi, and then he'd say, "Oh, Malachi." So every single word that was a little bit, that wasn't just the basic normal words. So I guess our book study conductor decided it was time for a change. So he came to me just prior to this. I had given a talk at the service meeting, one of the little 5-minute talks, and the talk I had been assigned, I actually hated it. It was extremely boring. It's the talk where you just give the lineage, the genealogy. So it's just name after name after name. That's what the whole assigned scriptures was about, just name after name after name. It made it difficult to give a talk with that information, with that assignment, because during the theocratic ministry school, you're supposed to have an opening, something in the middle where you stop for a minute and reflect, or take everyone to another scripture or something, you know what I mean, and then a closing. So there's not really a lot you can say when all you're doing is reading names, you know what I mean? So it was a little bit more difficult than if I had been, reading one of the scriptures that was telling a story or something. So I hated the talk, but I gave it. And the thing was, though, I nailed all the names. So it was just, you guys know the scriptures I'm talking about probably, but I nailed every name, all the crazy syllable names and crazy spelling. So I nailed every one and did a real good job. And I came in at 4 minutes and 58 seconds. So I had timed it perfectly, because 5 minutes is your limit. So I timed it perfectly. So after that, my book study conductor came to me and said, "Hey, I would like for you to be the reader at our book study." So at that point, I had only been baptized probably 3 months or so, maybe 4. I really don't remember. And he came and said, "Hey, I want you to be our new reader, moving forward, starting at the next meeting." So I said, "Okay, cool." I felt a little bit good about myself. Got a little bit of responsibility. Everybody's normally trying to get some sort of responsibility in the congregation. Most people were doing it trying to climb the ladder. I was probably doing it more so at that time. I was kind of, girl crazy. So I was probably just doing it trying to make sure I seemed like I was a suitable mate for somebody. Because, hey, look at me, I got some responsibility. You know what I mean? So, so got my little responsibility. But so come time for the first book study where I was going to be doing a reading. And so I sit down in that chair. So it was actually a prominent position to sit too at the book study. So you sat up at the front next to the conductor. So I had like one of the big soft chairs, the cushiony chairs, you know what I mean, instead of the hard chair that everyone else was sitting on. So yeah, I was in there. I was living life to the fullest. I'm the reader now. You know what I mean? But the guy who had to stop reading, he wasn't happy. And who was even less happy was his wife. So during that first book study, like old boy just had his head down, like he wouldn't look up, he wouldn't comment, he wasn't involved in the book study at all. He was just clearly sad, you know, about what had transpired. His wife though was angry. So she was just sitting there like just ice grilling, just mean mugging me the whole time. She just had this scowl on her face. And she like also wasn't commenting. She was just sitting there like mentally throwing a temper tantrum. You know what I mean? She wasn't saying nothing, but she was just, you could just tell by her body positioning, by the look on her face, like she was furious. So she happened to be a regular pioneer. So that book, you know, that book said he comes and goes, and it is what it is. You know, they don't comment or anything. They're clearly upset. She was a regular pioneer, and so was my mother. So she used to go out during the week, and a lot of times her and my mother would go out in field service together. So for like the next week, she wouldn't go out in field service with my mom. Like she would see to it that she would be in another car. Like she would just make sure she didn't have to be in the group with my mother. And so my mother saw what was going on. She told me like, yeah, she's mad. She's extremely upset that, you know, I guess with what happened with that reader position, and you know, she doesn't want to be around me. So eventually, like, she had to go out and field service with my mom, because I guess only 4 people came out that day, 4 sisters. So they were all going to go ahead and go to the territory in the same car together, you know. So it was her, my mom, another sister, and then the Sister Jones, who I loved. Sister Jones because she was just raw and real. Like whatever was on her mind, she would just blurt it out. Like no problems, she would just blurt it out. So on this day, because they were forced to be together, you know, the sister whose husband got the position taken just finally went ahead and put it out there and told my mom, like, hey, I've just got to say this. I don't think it's fair. Your son was given that position and was allowed to read at the book study. You know, he's only been baptized for, you know, a few months, less than a year. My husband's been baptized since he was 15. This guy was probably 30 or something at this point. I just don't think it's right. They took his responsibility away. That was his only real responsibility, you know, and I just think it's wrong. So my mom is trying to take, you know, the high road with it. She's like, well, you know, Jehovah will work things out. There's probably gonna be something else in store for your husband. You know, the brothers must have done it for a reason. You know, maybe they're just trying to move things around, you know, just trying to give some real PC answers and trying to soften the blow. But Sister Jones, who was in the car, she was like, look, your husband can't read, and that's why he can't read at the book study. Everybody sits there like, oh my goodness, he can't pronounce anything. So he got to work on that if you want him to be able to read at the book study. She was like, put it out there. And I wasn't in the car. My mom just told me about this. So my mom said things just got quiet and awkward. And then for a couple minutes, and then the sister just started going off like, how dare you? You're in no position to speak on the, you know, and just started going off on Sister Jones. So Sister Jones just snapped back like, look, I'm just telling you, like nobody wants to tell you walking around here like you mad at the world. I'm just telling you the truth that somebody needs to tell you. So, you know, they went back and forth until the sister was like, take me back to my car. I'm not even going in field service today anymore. Take me to my car. So they had to take her back to the Kingdom Hall, and she left. She went home. She didn't come out in field service for like the next 2 weeks. And she was a regular pioneer, so I know she didn't get her time that month, because this was way before like cart witnessing and all that. So there's no way she got her time that month. So she was that mad where she just was gonna mess up and not get her time. But you know, after that, even when she did finally come back and start going back out in field service, like everything was different. She acted standoffish and like she was still upset. Both of them just didn't really speak to me anymore. Like I didn't go up and, you know, try to position myself to get that role. You know what I mean? He just couldn't read good. You know, I don't even know why he was in that role in the first place. But you know, it is what it is. I ended up reading in that role for, you know, until I ended up kind of leaving the first time for a little while, and then I came back, and I did a whole video about my judicial committee that y'all can go look at if you want. A lot of people like that video, but I came back. So obviously when I left and came back, and then I was on private reproof, I wasn't reading at the book study anymore. They had somebody else. They didn't bring him back to do it. They had somebody else do it. But just, it struck me as funny because people really are positioning and trying to maneuver for all these different roles and responsibilities. And I myself fell for it too, because I was kind of happy I got the little responsibility, you know what I mean? But people get upset. Like, you take them away, they get upset, they get angry. They feel like, you know, the person who is doing the responsibility now, like, did something wrong to them, and I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? So just another little funny tidbit that I thought of, that I you know, recalled from my days as a Jehovah's Witness, my days in the congregation. But it also, like I said, is another funny story about my first true responsibility. So as always, I'm going to put my email address in the description of the video. I get a lot of emails. I get more emails and comments, and I get quite a few emails from people who say they're currently witnesses, and that's cool. You know, I'm you know, glad to talk to anyone. You know, with some questions and things like that. I get some emails from people angry at me too, for different reasons. Some people, you know, some current witnesses send me a message and say, hey, you're not going to the new system, and may God have mercy on you, stuff like that. Okay, you know, whatever. You should be watching a video. I'm telling your brothers if I find out who you are. I'm calling the kingdom home. But, you know, I also get messages from ex-JWs mad at me saying, you know, I'm too nice to the current JWs, like I'm taking up for them or something. But you know, whatever. I don't really care. But yeah, really, what I put my email address there for is in case people need help, and in case people need someone to talk to, and need someone to communicate with. You know, because it can be a cold world out there as people navigate away from the organization, or people that are still in and not sure what to do. You know, so I get emails sometimes of people saying, hey, your video helped me. I was having a hard night. Watched some of your videos, came across your videos. Just want to let you know they helped me a lot. Or I liked your perspective, or I found something funny. You know, whatever the case may be. If just one person finds that my videos helped them a little bit, then that's all I make this for. If I'm only able to help one person through all of this, then that is great. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I make them, because I realize there's different people at different stages, and I know that me watching videos help me relive some memories, you know, some good memories, some bad memories. And I know that there's a lot of people that sometimes just feel alone, and maybe just sometimes feeling a feeling of familiarity, you know, with something they may hear, or some information that they may come across may help them, you know, in some way. So I'm always there to help. If somebody wants to talk on the phone, text, talk, video chat, whatever, you know, I'm always there to help. So email me. I'll put the email in the description. And y'all have a good day. Probably my next video, or maybe a couple of videos from now, I'm going to answer some questions that I keep getting in the email. Some people are asking me like some personal stuff and some religious stuff about my views, stuff like that. So I'm going to take some time and answer some of those questions in that video, you know, in case anyone is curious. So y'all have a good day. Leave me a comment, send me an email, and I'm here to help.